2020, August 28th, 9:50 a.m. Boy, after a close to a week of not recording, have I found some really funky stuff. Okay. This research, has produced some very interesting evidence, structural dynamics, and oddities that have very difficult ways to explain them, minus pointing to an obvious conclusion of a lost sequence of gospels, a lost sequence of information, and a larger picture that combines what Jesus was talking about and what the Torah was talking about, what the pyramids were talking about. There's a collection of information. There's a collection of underlying information that connects all these things. Period. In a way, it even connects. In more than a few ways, it connects the work of Joseph Smith with this work also. Period. The interesting thing is that this subject is specific to Miramont Castle, Manitou Springs, Colorado, which is part of the metroplex of the cities of Colorado Springs. Period. But the cities of Colorado Springs are actually it's a political situation created by an offshoot of the Great Awakening movement, which is an offshoot of the Prussian Empire. Period. It can be defined in various and sort of ways of looking at the mathematics, that the Great Awakening movement organizational structures are actually terrorist cells, period. And by terrorist cells, I mean just exactly that. I mean, comparing them to Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, so on and so forth, the dozen, 2 dozen, hundreds of whatever terrorist cells that have a command control structure that is from Mecca. This is accurate, although the Prussian Empire and Mecca work sort of working hand in hand, and there is some physical evidence to present to that information. Period. But the biggest problem is that the people who are born again, evangelical, so on and so forth, part of the Great Awakening movement, they'd rather die than admit the facts and evidence. Period. Miramont Castle was designed to reflect the Capitoline Hill of Rome, among a dozen other things. But that was one of the things it was designed to reflect, was the capital city, the capital of Rome, the Roman Forum, and such. And Dr. Francolon, who had designed the place, his ideas, he was going to build a complex of buildings and information that he was not allowed to do because he was not allowed to be in the area for that long period. He was allowed to be from the point where his castle was completed, in the point where Nikola Tesla finished wiring his castle, a 5-story building, from the ground floor up was all electrified and had electric lights and all kinds of other stuff going on. Period. He and Tesla were allowed to stay in the area for about 18 months before both of them were literally put on a rail and informed, come back and we will kill you. Period. So that the people who hated them could have their thing.